So now that we understand the structure of the cell membrane or plasma membrane, how do the molecules get through that membrane? We call this cellular transport. So cells transport materials to maintain homeostasis. So those cells need energy; they need those molecules in order to be productive. We have to get that into the cell. So we're going to look at two types of transport. We have passive transport and active transport. And if you look at this diagram, there's an easy way and there's a harder way. One doesn't require energy and the other one does. So what do cells actually need to transport? If you look on the left of this Venn diagram, to go into the cell, we need oxygen, we need sugar, and we need amino acids. Out of the cell, we need to get the waste products out and also carbon dioxide. Things that go both in and out of the cell are water and salts and nutrients. So in order for a substance to pass into and out of the cell, they must pass through that cell membrane. And remember that cell membrane is made up of that phospholipid bilayer. So there's concentration gradients where one area has a higher concentration amount of a substance than another area, and this occurs across a membrane. So if you look at this concentration gradient here, the first diagram, you have a high concentration to low concentration. So these arrows are just drawing how the molecules will move, okay? And then from low to high. So the steeper the concentration gradient, the faster diffusion takes place. So steeper concentration gradient meaning I have a lot of molecules on one side and not a lot on the other side of this membrane. This is going to cause a fast rate of diffusion. Those lots of molecules are going to want to rush into the cell to create a balance or a dynamic equilibrium. The less steep of a gradient, meaning the more closer to equal those molecules are, the slower rate of diffusion. So you can look at it as two different types of slides. So the first type of transport we're going to look at is passive transport. This does not require energy. So particles move from high to low concentration across a membrane. So again, it's with the concentration gradient that goes from high to low. We have diffusion and facilitated diffusion. If you look at the diagram, diffusion goes directly through the membrane, whereas facilitated diffusion uses those proteins to help get the molecules through the membrane. So again, first part, diffusion, is the movement of particles from high to low concentration. These are your small non-polar molecules, your oxygen, your carbon dioxide, and your water. Okay, so if you look at this over time, you have all these molecules on the outside of the cell, and you have that membrane, and over time, those molecules are going to go through, or going to diffuse through that phospholipid bilayer into the cell, into the cytoplasm of the cell. Another type of passive transport is osmosis, and this is the diffusion of water across a membrane. And this occurs through channel proteins or directly through the membrane. So again, look at the diagram. It's going to go directly through the membrane or through a channel protein that we call aquaporin. So facilitated diffusion is diffusion across a membrane helped by proteins. So we have channel proteins, small openings in the membrane, and those remain open. Things flow into and out of the cell. And then you have carrier proteins, which transfer molecules through membrane. So they move large or polar molecules, ions, sugars, amino acids. Here's some diagrams of passive transport. So the first one, just simple diffusion through the phospholipid bilayer. And then you have facilitated diffusion through a non-specific transporter. Okay, so this is just where the molecules or ions are going into and out of the cell. And then here you have a specific transporter, so a carrier protein. Okay, it's specifically designed for one substance and one substance only. In this case, it's glucose, where it's going to transport glucose into the cell. And here is osmosis, okay, through the bilayer, and it's using the aquaporin protein. We have active transport now, and this is the one that requires energy. It's where particles are going to move against that concentration gradient. And it's going to go, instead of going from high to low concentration, it's going to move against it and go from low to high concentration. And in this case, you're going to need carrier proteins to move those particles. And also, if you look here, what is something else that it's going to need? What is this? It's ATP, which is a form of energy. You should have learned that in the cellular respiration and photosynthesis unit. So one of the active transport things for the cell membrane is called a sodium-potassium pump. It's a carrier protein actively transporting 3 sodium ions out of the cell in order to bring in 2 potassium ions. And again, this is against the concentration gradient. So you have the sodium-potassium pump. It's going to bind 3 sodium ions and a molecule of ATP. Remember, it needs this ATP in order to pump it across the concentration gradient. Okay? So once those go across, they're going to then transport the potassium into the cell. And it will continue to do this. So those are ways we transport small molecules, but what about large particles that go into and out of the cell? Again, these require energy in order to transport into and out of the cell. The first thing that we're going to talk about is endocytosis, where the cell surrounds and takes material into the cell. So it's going to form a vacuole or a capsule where it's going to engulf what it is that it wants to, the larger particles that it wants to get into the cell. And that membrane is going to pinch together and create a new little transport bubble into the cell. So pinocytosis is cell drinking. It's when fluid is engulfed by the cell. And phagocytosis is cell eating, when you have solid material engulfed by the cell. And then exocytosis is expulsion of substances from inside the cell. So it's going to move things out of the cell. So these would be things like waste or larger particles that the cell needs to get rid of. Again, both of these require energy. So what substances are transported by endo and exocytosis? These are proteins, polysaccharides, remember poly meaning chain, many sugars, waste, bacteria, viruses. All your large molecules are what is going to be either brought in or excreted through this process.